Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the major manufacturing. Part number HIT 45 is what this is. HIT 45. This is what they call a modular clamp. It's really much more than a modular clamp. It's the foundation of an entire system of how to prep doors for locks and whatnot. The HIT 45 is the clamp portion of an entire system, and is one of two platforms that they have for installing, or prepping, I should say, prepping doors for locks. And we'll start out with just some visual evidence of the item. Weighs about 5.04 pound, by the way, and it is this steel and aluminum structure. You have a couple of clamps at either end that will allow you to obviously clamp that down to your door edge. Okay. Long aluminum structure that's here, black anodized aluminum. Says HIT 45 right there, Major Manufacturing Inc. And that's what's in the box. Also what's in the box is the installation instructions for the HIT 45, but then a comprehensive manual on all things HIT 45 related in terms of an entire system. We have both of these links down below, and the size of these documents are very indicative of how Major ships material. Lots of installation instructions, very large font, lots of pictures, very clear. They do an exceptional job with that. So these two binders or packets, they're included with this. So the question is, what do you use this for? Let's talk about it. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. The HIT 45 will be the clamp that you're going to need as the foundational piece of being able to extend beyond just prepping for a simple, let's say, edge prep. The HIT 45 is going to be used to attach plates that will allow you to do preparation work in the edge of a door for square-edged and beveled edge doors. Then, to the unit itself, you're going to be able to attach templates that will fit over on the face of the door on both sides that will allow you to do function holes as well. They have an accessory that I have listed, I have here, which, you know, they call it an accessory. I feel it's mandatory to have this if you're going to do work on doors. What's in this package is the HIT 45, part number FP5. This is the Bevel Block and Locator Pin package. I'll take it out just to show it to you. The HIT 45 clamp, okay, is locked in position. This is going to work for a square edge door. If you have a beveled edge door, you're going to need to rework the clamp very quickly and easily. And then you're going to install the bevel block. It's just a piece of steel. There's two of them. You'll screw that on to the unit here. I'm sorry that's so dark, but it's black. You'll put one here and here. You'll attach that, and then when you make the adjustment to the clamp head so that it can then pivot over a beveled edge door, you'll be able to route into the edge of the door when it's beveled. And the other problem is the distance from where the door will reside, or where the clamp makes contact with the door right here, it won't touch the aluminum backside of it, so you need that extra piece of metal, the bevel block, to pick that up. Then it comes with the locator pin. And the locator pin is really easy. You install that if you're going to do a mortise lock. You'll install it into the middle hole. There are 5 holes here. It goes into the middle. And when you hook the tape measure on the top of your door and come down to the center line of your 86 edge, your middle of your mortise pocket, line it up with the locator pin. And then you're going to have your center line struck perfectly. Just thread that in there and you'll be able to line that up. I would take my, my tape measure. So you can see that poking out there. I would take my tape measure. I would strike my center line down at the edge of the door. I would take my combination square, lightly mark a line with my pencil, and now I've got my center line of my mortise lock. So the bevel block and locator pin, you know, I don't see how you use this without those unless you're doing square edge doors exclusively, and you don't care about the locator pin. So I'm going to put these components back into the package just so as not to lose them. And then, before we get to the video, the screen view, and showing you this HIT 45 a bit more in detail, there's another item here just so as So just to allow me to illustrate some of its capability, the HIT 45 AR5, this piece of blue anodized aluminum will simply get screwed or attached down to the HIT 45. At this point, with the proper guide size and the proper size 2-flute carbide router bit, you now are going to be able to prep your 86 edge plate in here. Okay, so you're starting to see, okay, we're doing mortise locks with these. Yeah, absolutely you can. You'll do other things as well. And I think at this point, the AR5 is just to illustrate how these plates fit into this modular system. So I'm going to put the AR5 back, and then what we're going to do is we're going to dive into what we'll dive into here is I'm going to quickly show you on the screen how you adjust the clamp, because that's really the only thing on this unit that you'll have to do when you have a beveled edge door. And it did take me a minute, so to speak, to get the hang of it. So to adjust the clamp to do a beveled edge door, right now it's locked in place for a square edge door. We can't move that at all. What you'll take note of is right here, this piece right here, that's keeping the block locked in place. According to the instructions, pinch the clamp together, rotate that out, pull out your block, turn it 180 degrees, push it back in, tighten up your wing nut. Now at this point, this thing's going to move. That's what's going to allow you to get to a beveled edge door. Now if we weren't adjusting for bevel on our clamp, our router would sit flat on the door. Okay, but when we did a faceplate prep, the depth of the router bit is going to change because the surface is different. Here it doesn't matter when it's square edge, but if you have a beveled edge door, then you need to be able to take the clamp and get it tipped down so that you are now parallel in every respect with the edge of the door, meaning you have to do this to it rather than flat. You got to tip it. And I would obviously make the same change over at the other clamp. So to do that in reverse, pinch it, back your wing nut off, take the block, flip it 180 degrees, slide that piece of metal back into that notch that's in the block, just push it back into place, tighten up your wing nut. Pretty simple. In terms of a door range, I don't know what the maximum range is on this. Okay, so I can tell you what it is. Backing the wing nut out. I've got that backed out to where the clamp doesn't open up any further. Looks like we're right at about 2 3/8 looks a maximum. So really 2 1/4 is what you're going to work on with this. Bringing it down, that's easy as well. So, you know, 1 3/8, not really. It's a bit heavy on 1 3/8. You could squeeze that a little bit more to get that, sorry about the ringing, to get that down to 1 3/8. So that would work for that. So we've demonstrated how to move the clamp around. Let's now switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting documentation. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here's the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at the photographs first that we have listed here. That's the box, just the label on the box. The contents of the box. The clamp itself. A little closer up view, so to speak. The opposite end of that. Clamp structure from the end. A side view. Regrettably, I don't have a good photograph showing how that clamp block fits to keep it square or to rotate it. We'll look at that in the installation instructions. You can see evidence of it right here, however. and this will fit into a notch in the bottom of this block that's here. Okay. All right, now extended description information down below. Modular clamp. Using a revolutionary design, the HIT 45 clamp will work on aluminum, wood, or hollow metal doors. Sure it will. Splendidly, in fact. It will go from 1¼ to 2¼ okay, without the use of special adapters or plates like shim plates. Clamping pressure is positive with the HIT 45, always being self-centering by design. And that's really a reference to when you tighten this all down, it pinches both of the clamps in equally. And that's obviously very important that this moves in at the same rate that this moves in, so that your preparation is centered on the door. You may not be doing a preparation that's centered on the door. It might be offset, at which point you'll have to add some shim plates there. The use of 2 internal locating studs assures that backset is calculated from door center, regardless of flat, beveled, or radius doors. What they're saying here is there is a ball that's in here, and it makes just very light contact with the edge of the door. So it's referencing this curved surface here. It's referencing the center line of the door accurately. In fact, this drawing here is very appropriate that I had started. What they're saying here is square edge door, beveled edge door. The backset is the dimension from here to the center of the hole. On a square edge door, when you measure 2 3/4, you'll get the same dimension. On a beveled edge door, you're going to get a different dimension. That line and that line are not the same line because that door is beveled. Because that backset is actually measured right from the center of the thickness of the door, regardless of it being square, radiused, rabbited, or beveled. Okay, so that's the design that they're talking about. Won't get you in trouble, is what they're saying, by unintentionally measuring incorrectly. And then obviously all of the templates that they have that attach to this are meant for that purpose, or they're designed with that purpose in mind. Okay, product brochure and product brochure. We have 2 of those. Let's take a look and see what those are. This is truly the product brochure. HIT 45. All of this information we've gone over, so we won't really beleaguer that any further. This is really showing the adaptability of it when you get to doing function holes. Whether it be, this is probably a Von Duprin, well, I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like a Von Duprin 996 trim, but it's not exactly. Obviously, a mortise lock with or without, escutcheon or rose trim. I don't know whose holes are on this angle, Corbin or Yale or Sargent. I don't recall. But these templates screw to the edge, and you'll put one on each side, and you'll be in really good shape. You'll use that locator pin to locate the center. You'll be able to prep your edge, your 8" by 1¼ edge prep. Remove your locator pin without loosening these clamps, and then attach your faceplates. Pretty simple. Pretty brilliant. You're going to need mandatorily the proper size guide and router bit for doing this. And we're going to get into that in a moment. The rest of this product brochure shows other items. Now, in particular, it shows the items that you can slap onto it, that you can screw to the HIT 45. If you're doing aluminum storefront work a lot, the HIT 45 AR1 will give you that 6 7/8 by 1" Adams Wright prep on the edge of your hollow metal door. The AR2 is for Adams Wright locks with an 1 1/8 back set. Yeah, I can't think in my head what we're using this prep for without looking at a template. But nonetheless, they have different templates for different back sets, obviously, because of where everything's drilled. 1 1/8, 31/32, or 1 1/2, because you'll flip how the plates are installed. Same concept here. A bit that they recommend for aluminum, and I would recommend their bit as well. The AR5, the 45 AR5, is for doing that 8" by 1¼ prep, and so on. Adams Wright, 4550 deadlock lever, flush bolts, the bit, now lock templates, not storefront, steel doors, wood doors. Here's a kit for arrow. You'll clamp that right to the 45. Best, Baldwin. Baldwin intimidates a lot of people because of, and you're kind of seeing it here, when you pull out a Baldwin template, there are a lot of holes on that thing. A lot of dimension lines on a Baldwin template. Don't get overwhelmed by that, in the sense of, take the template. What I do is I scratch off what I X through what I don't need. And doing a reality check against what function of lock you have for cylinder, spindle, through holes for trim, is how you go about doing that. This just incorporates every darn Baldwin lock that you're going to bump into. Grip handles, etc. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of grip handles with a lot of different sizes. Corbin Russwin, Falcon, Marks, mortise lock positioning fixture. Two-piece positioning fixture used when installing mortise locks. If you don't want to measure the top of the door to the center line and then use the locator pin, attach this to the edge of your door like a hollow metal door, then screw this onto your 45 clamp, and just mate the two holes together. And that will automatically center it based on the position of your 86 edge. Doesn't mean your 86 edge is in the right location, but the function holes will be in the right location in relationship to the location of the 8" by 1.25" pocket. PDQ template set, Sargent, Schlage. Obviously, it's Schlage on the angle. Different Unican hotel locks, Yale mortise locks. This is the Bevel Block and Locator Pin, which I said, if you're buying a Hit 45, buy this as well. If you're going to do a, this Hit 41 SP6 does not apply to what we're talking about. So let's look at this product brochure. Yeah, this needs to be renamed Installation Instructions. Now let's dive into these installation instructions. 31 pages. I assure you that it's not as daunting as it seems. Use the Hit 45 clamp system to route faceplate openings in wood doors. Absolutely. So they're showing you how to prepare the clamp, which I've already demonstrated. Squeeze it together, back out your wing nut, and then flip your block over so that you can rotate that if you're doing beveled edge doors. If you have a square edge door, leave it as it sits. But if you're doing beveled edge, do that, and then attach the bevel blocks underneath it. And the bevel block in this picture is in this gentleman's palm underneath these two holes. There's the locator pin. That's the AR5 that he just screwed to the kit. Put the whole thing onto the door once you've got it located with your locator pin. Then make sure your router is set up. So I won't breeze through the rest of this because we've already demonstrated this. You must have, for using the Hit 45 units, a 5/8 diameter OD template guide. The OD of this guide needs to be 5/8 of an inch outside. It needs to be a 1/2 inch diameter bit that's there. Start by extending the router bit 1 1/16 past the base plate and test. This will be very close to the proper depth. It is best to test on a scrap wood block prior to installation. By measuring the distance from the router base to the end of the router bit, this setup can now be duplicated at any time. What they're saying is, how deep do you go? Well, it depends on how deep you're routing. 7/32 would be typical for a depth of an 86 edge. So, 1 1/16, sure. What I would do is I would get that set. I would make my preparation in the door. I would take my caliper and test the depth and then adjust. And yes, I would record that dimension from my base to the tip of the router, and I would keep a log of all of that so I could get very, very close the next time I was setting up. In fact, doing preparations like hinges, I would have a router set only for the hinge work because I didn't want to waste time resetting the depth on the 2-flute carbide router bit for doing a 134 thousandths hinge. Now, they show you how to mark your center line. I don't agree with this as being the best way to do this. Mark the top of your prep and then the bottom of your prep and go to the center line and mark that. And that's where your locator pin will go. As I had said earlier, just go to the center line. Top of the door to the center of your 86 edge. Put the locator pin there and you're done. Combination square, like I had said earlier. The caliper, the router, the combination square, these are all required tools. Pencils with a very light lead, easily erased. Then they're showing you how to prep that 86 edge, that faceplate only. Now what they're assuming is you've already done this. Well, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at what that is. I'm going to guess as to what the part number is. Yeah, the HIT 66-200. In the HIT 66 platform, it's like the HIT 45, except that you can add to a HIT 66, which are the clamps top and bottom. You can add the 200 lock mortiser, and I have a video and installation instructions discussing this, but basically you clamp it to the door, you set your upper and lower stops here and here, you run the bit through the fixture, you set your depth collar on the bit so that when you're drilling, you're only going to the proper depth. Stick all of that onto a 1/2-inch collet, decent horsepower power drill, like a good old-fashioned Milwaukee, and just make several drill into the door. In. Then once you have all that done, you can oscillate and waste away the rest of the material. So that's the HIT 66-200. There is not a way to make this pocket in the HIT 45 platform. So either investigate other ways to do it or go with the HIT 66-200. But the point of this is once you have your 86 edge done, square your corners, assuming that that's what your lock requires. Voila, that's all there is to it. Now what they do is they continue to go on to talk more at length about how you'll use the HIT 45 as a platform. Okay. The HIT 45 clamp that will be used to install a mortise lock. This is it. There is a backset stud located in the center top of the clamp. It will be the correct backset calculated from the center of the door, regardless of the door bevel, as we discussed earlier. If you have used the clamp to route the faceplate, be sure to remove the bevel blocks. What they're saying is you're going to put the bevel blocks on there to do the faceplate, but when you do the face work, remove those bevel blocks. Otherwise, you will not be margining the correct backset from the edge of the door. This is what's margining the correct backset. When you put those bevel blocks in there, the door will make contact with the bevel block first. So be sure to do that. Otherwise, it's going to be awful. All your holes are going to be off by a small amount. I don't even want to think about it. Your locator, the HIT 45 ML1, attach that to the door, put that on the HIT 45, locate your center line, like he's doing here. Attach that. I'm not reading this stuff because the pictures are so valuable, so make it so easy. Bevel blocks are removed, line that up. Now you're at the proper backset and the proper relationship from the center line of the mortise lock to the backset of all your holes. Then it's just a matter of drilling all your function holes. I won't detail that. Use the proper drill bit. There are very high caliber bushings, high quality bushings in these aluminum templates. Be sure to drill very straight. Don't grind the bushings. Those templates are not inexpensive, but when they're handled correctly, they are investment quality material. You'll be using them for years. You have all your holes marked with this HIT 45 system by using these templates. Then it's a matter of going back and drilling the holes to the proper size. We know that's going to be 1 inch or 1 1/8 or whatever it is. We know that our cylinder is going to be 1 1/4. So you've got all the holes located like they do here. You just have to now go in and make them all the proper diameter. That's all there is to it. Now, as you continue to go through the installation instructions, it's going to go on and give you detailed instructions as to what you use for a drill bit size based on what you're installing. An escutcheon versus a rose versus arrow versus Schlage. And is, as a result, extremely handy. It's a detailed step-by-step of all of the templates available for this system. That's really why this document's 30-plus pages in length. You don't need that many pages, but you can appreciate having all of the data at your review, at your fingertips to review. PDQ, Sargent, I'm just scrolling past the different lock manufacturers' templates that Major makes. Parts diagram, that's awfully nice. I've not had a client call me and say that they needed a part. But should you, this would be what you're dealing with. That's it. Now, there is that second manual that I want to show you. It should be under the manufacturer's page as seen here. Yeah, it is. Major Manufacturing Aluminum Door Series Owner's Manual. This is now 60 pages. So this is, if you're going to dive into the world of Major, this is a very, very good document to absorb. To know what you're dealing with, how to do the work, etc. Doing an aluminum door here, obviously, with the HIT 45 system. The edge with the 45 with the HIT 45 AR5. The face templates attached. Obviously, the bevel blocks removed. Finishing off whatever holes need to be finished off. Your mounting bridge. Your lock body. Oh, okay. That's what it's for. It's for an occupancy indicator. I forgot. That rectangular, if you needed it, is for an occupancy indicator. Beautiful job, right? Just perfect. It looks like it was factory done. Done the same way the factory does it. They probably just automate it. So I won't continue to scroll through this because none of this is absolutely germane to what we're talking about, but you get the idea of where you'll go when it comes to wetting your lips, so to speak, in terms of the world of Major. Also on this page will be all of the Major products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation here. There's also a link to the website and then the full product catalog. So I would click on the full product catalog and I would open that up. Let's do a find function on our keyboard for HIT 45 and then we'll scroll through there. There are a lot of matches for HIT 45. Got down to about page 50 and that's where the HIT hardware installation tool section starts. There's our 45 shown here as well. The reason I'm showing this to you is it is a cross-reference chart between what lock you want to prep and what you can use. So let's say that you're going to do a Donjo 1550 flush bolt. That's what you're looking for, the HIT 45 FB1. It's all alphabetical. Let's scroll down to Schlage L series. There's two different ways to do a Schlage L series or L9000. You can do it with the HIT 45 platform with an SL1 template kit or the HIT 66-282. So there's two different platforms or systems for Major that you can use to do this. Admittedly, the first time that I looked at all of this and having several years of experience prepping doors, I can tell you that I still needed to call the manufacturer and confirm my conclusions. And I was correct, knowing what tools I needed, but you know, the people over at Major make quite quick work of it because of their familiarity. What I'm saying is, determine what you need, or don't. Regardless, call us to make sure you're right. We'll make sure that you have all the parts to do every aspect of the door as far as what Major can provide. So as we scroll through, you're just going to see, you know, the HIT 111. This is for doing through-bolt holes in grade 1 and grade 2 cylindrical locks. Best, Yale, Sargent, Schlage, Corbin Russwin, etc. All kinds of installation aids that are here. The more you scroll through, quite frankly, the more you're going to find. So as a result, I would certainly suggest that you review all this. You might want to also contact us and ask for the best way to do it. And the question I would ask is, well, what other work are you going to do? You know, what's more adaptable? The HIT 45 is extremely adaptable to aluminum storefront work. A ridiculous amount of variety. They can also sell you these guides, so be mindful. You're going to need that. I had a customer call me, and he said, yeah, the hinge is too tight. He was doing sauce hinges, and we discovered that the manufacturer had sent him the wrong diameter router bit. It was too small, about 1/8 of an inch too small. So all of his preps were off. And while it made the right shape and the right depth, it didn't make it to the right size. So you've got to really have the right guide and the right diameter bit, because the inside preparation on everything here is meant for that. They have entire kits. If you're doing aluminum storefront work a lot, this is going to be easy to justify really quickly. So if you do aluminum work, you might want to review what you get in all these items. HIT 45 individual door templates. We touched on these quickly earlier, and you can scroll through here and see all of them again. Here's the HIT 66 platform. That's a different series. I would definitely recommend that you review it as well, because I do like the fact that you can do that pocket. The reason you see the HIT 66 200 mortiser outside of the HIT 45, because the HIT 45 is meant for aluminum, really, and you would never need to do a pocket like this. You've got a 6-inch wide style aluminum door. So, you know, if you're doing wood doors, you might want to look at the HIT 66 platform. Lots of stuff here. Let's wrap up this video on camera. A very typical conversation that I would have with a client who calls and wants to purchase some lock installation tools, accessories, aids, jigs, fixtures, whatever you like to call it, is what are you doing and how are you doing it now? For a lot of this stuff, you know, I would make my own. I would take a piece of, 1x Poplar and just create my own template. The reason I do that, though, is because I have, an understanding of routers and guides and carpentry as it extends to, how to drill doors. So I have lots of experience in that regard. If I didn't, though, which is the majority of my clients who buy this material, meaning, they don't want to learn how to be a fine carpenter or a master door technician. They've got a job. I need to do the job and I need to move on. And the conversation is, what are you doing? Okay, so the client says, I've got 10 aluminum doors. They're all wide style. This client, I don't know where they got this from, but they want to put Schlage L9000 series locks on the doors. Okay, great. That's super easy. How do you want to go about doing it? That's not a question really for the client. It's a question for you to say to yourself, how should the client do it? You're going to need to make that mortise pocket. You're going to need to make those function holes. And the HIT 45 platform is perfect for it. I try to touch on the part of the conversation that says, well, here's how I would do it. If it was 1 or 2 doors, personally, I wouldn't invest the money in the kit because their investment quality, these will last years and years and years. Years. But a client will say, I've got 10 doors to do. And now you start to scratch your head. Well, the cost per door is going to be pretty expensive to do it. But what you're doing with a kit is you're ritualizing the behavior. You're not worried about someone measuring and putting an X in the wrong place, and now you've got a much bigger problem. With the HIT 45 system, really all you need is one dimension correct. Top of the door to the center of the mortise pocket. That's all you need. From there, you're going to be able to do your prep based on that with your locator pin. You're going to remove the bevel blocks if you installed them, put your face plates on, right back, and the clamp is still on the door, drill all your holes, your pre-drill holes, take the clamp off, and then come with your 1.25 inch, 1 inch, whatever the other sizes will be, 1.125 inch. You're ritualizing the behavior so as to minimize the potential for error. Because the person with all the door machining experience may not be the person in the field doing it. The person at the contracting company who's in charge of logistics, he needs to get the tool from his lockup to that job site. Here's the tool, go do it. And you want to be able to express to the person doing the work, clamp the thing on, you know what you're drilling, drill the holes. Rather than an entire discussion on mortise locks and templates and sizes and drill bits. So you're reducing out the ability to make an error, is the bottom line. And when someone needs to delegate that work to someone else, and that someone else doesn't have thousands and thousands of doors under their belt when it comes to machining doors, you know, it's also the risk of what the cost could be if there was an error. So these templates, these jigs, these fixtures, they're not cheap, but they have a very valuable place in your lockup, in your toolbox. I'm very appreciative of the people over at Major. Every time that I call them, they are on the spot with the answers, and I thank them very much for that. And very high quality product, very high quality people behind it as well. Any questions on the HIT 45 modular clamp system or any other Major product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.